This is a story in the sand. And today I'm going to tell you the story of an Olympic athlete, because we have just finished off a summer of Olympics and Paralympic sport. And this Olympic athlete was somebody that inspired me when I was young, partly not because of what he achieved, but because of the way that he did it. Some would say he was a failure. Others would say that he actually showed a great victory in the way that he dealt with adversity and taught many lessons to many people. It's the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, and the brilliant 400 metre runner Redmond from Great Britain is on the starting blocks in the semi-final. There's a place in the final within his grasp if he can get around the track in a good time, and things are looking good. And he starts the first 100 metres and things are still looking good. He's in a good place. And then on the back straight, he's coming down the back straight, and all of a sudden his hamstring goes and he collapses to the floor. And his race is in tatters. He tries to get up to complete the race, to join the other athletes, but they're way ahead of him on the track now and he can hardly walk. As he watches the other athletes finish, the tears begin to fill his eyes. And these are not private tears, they're very public, because this is an Olympic stadium with millions of people watching as well on television. And he is stood isolated, all by himself, on the back straight while the other athletes congratulate themselves on finishing. But he is determined to finish. Even though he can hardly walk, he hobbles down towards the bend, and he's in great pain, both emotionally and physically, and everybody is willing him on, but you can see the pain etched across his face. Suddenly, from the crowd, a man jumps down over the barrier, barges his way through security, and this man isn't just any man. This is Redmond's dad, Jim. He can see the pain of his son, and he wants to stand with him. He wants to carry him through this time. And so Jim puts his arm around Derek, and together they make their way to the finishing line. A helping hand is sometimes what we all need, and at that point Redmond needed somebody to come with him and help him finish that race. It was an absolutely wonderful image that's always stuck with me. And it reminds me of my relationship with God and all of our relationships with God. You see, the great thing about the Christian faith is that we believe in a personal God, a God that loves us personally and deeply for who we are. There's this great poem that many people have heard called Footprints in the Sand, and basically it's about somebody who's been going through an awful lot of trouble in their lives, and then they ask the question of God, when I was going through all of that pain and trial and trouble, it felt like mine were the only footprints in the sand. Where were your footprints? There's only one set of footprints there. And God says, well, that was a time when I was carrying you. Just as Jim Redmond carried Redmond. It's a really great image of God's personal love for us. And you might think that sounds a little bit twee, but it's based on scripture, because in the Bible, in the Old Testament, all the way through the Bible, but the Old Testament in the Psalms, we're reminded of God's love for us personally. In Psalm 139, it's one of the great personal psalms, where the psalmist writes that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are knitted together in our mother's womb. All of us are unique and special to God. And I would just recommend that anytime you're feeling a little bit unsure or doubting of how valuable you are to God, have a look at Psalm 139. And perhaps look up that story about Derek and Jim Redmond as well. Our footprints in the sand. That's when God is carrying us. Those times of failure, actually that's when God is sometimes the closest to us. Have a great day.